Now I'm going to have another session, another topic, triggers and cursors. So before heading to explaining about triggers technically, let me tell you when you want to use triggers, when you want to use cursors. Okay, so triggers, as the name indicates, it will trigger something, some other operation. If something has happened and it should initiate some other operation. So this is what a trigger is. This is when you use trigger. So for example, when I want to create a product, okay, and I want to intimate this to my manager, or any new request comes, I want to intimate to someone else. So assume there is new product entered, then that will insert into a product information. Then what it will have to inform is like, it has to send some email to a manager, or it has to insert in the log table, or it has to intimate some other operations, trigger some other operations. So these kind of things, how will you do? You cannot keep on monitoring these things like once the product got inserted, what has to be done. Something has to happen automatically once some operations happen. So these cases, you create a trigger and say that what has happened, what should happen, whether some insert should happen, or some select is happening, or delete is happening in a table or object someone has logged in. So those kind of things, something has happened, what should happen, that you need to mention in the code. So this is what trigger is. Okay, let us discuss later about the cursors. With this note, let us focus on trigger example technically. So what I'm going to do, let me explain that first. I'm going to create an employee and employee edit. As I said, so in this example, whenever insert happen in this employee table, or not only insert or delete or update happens in this employee table, that should insert automatically in this table. So this is a simple example I'm going to explain. So let us have this table, employees, employee edit. Then I'm inserting into employees. Okay. Now this is the definition of the trigger. Let us go one by one, line by line. So the definition of trigger is says like that. Similarly, how you create a procedure views, it is syntax is somewhat similar. In procedure, you say create procedure, procedure name, create view, view name. That is create what object you are going to create, then object name. Similarly here, create trigger, trigger name. That trigger on which table? As I said, I want to insert into whatever operations happened in employee, it should trigger some other operation. So I'm creating a trigger on this table, and for what? For these operations, insert, update and delete. So if these three operation happens, I want to initiate a trigger, and that trigger, what it has to do, it has to do this logic. What it is doing, this is inserting into employee audit. Just as simple as that. Okay, let me create this definition of this trigger. Before that, I want to explain another table. Hmm. Okay. Okay, guys. So now this is the definition of your trigger. So so we have seen the top part, two lines. If something happens, this operation happens in this table, then do this operation. Let me quickly explain what is happening. So it is just getting the login names, all those things. Then see, there is some concept like deleted, inserted, this table. Basically, when you do an insert in this table, employees, dbo.employees, okay, and what has happening here is it is not getting from the employees information. Let us park these two, this deleted comma, this one, insertion, okay. It is not picking up from the employees table and inserting into audit. Instead, there is something like inserted, okay. What is this called? So in SQL, basically during the transaction happening, once you do insert into any table or any other operation, there is a temporary table, it is created, okay, a virtual or it is a physical table. During that time only, this will have that value. Once you have inserted, so this will have the value at that time. So using that value, when it is inserted, you are inserting into this employees audit table, okay. This is the one, insert into employee audit table where inserted, okay. Similarly, if there is any delete or update happens, that will be stored in your deleted table. So from that you are inserting into audit table. If you have a delete, then you are getting that value deleted, okay, and inserting into audit value. So basically we are not getting the data from the base table. This is from employees, because you can ask, once you delete the record, that is gone, how you will get that data and you will store it in a temporary table or audit table. You are running one query, delete into this table. Once you delete it, that's all, that is gone. Then you need to store it into your audit table. So before deletion, you need to copy and delete. This is the one way. Instead, you can use this kind of temporary tables, okay, that is internally stored. Use that one to for audit purpose. Let us have a look with an example, okay. So I have created the trigger that explains it will insert into an audit table irrespective of whatever operations you do. So now let us see what is there here. I have 4 records, 4 records and 1 record here. What I'm doing, first of all, I'm doing a update. So it's rollbacking transaction. Okay, let me explain that one also with you. Okay, guys. Now you see here what has happened. You see the query first. So first select statement. This statement is written one Mark Smith. Then I'm updating the Mark Smith. See the data here before updation. Mark Smith. What I'm updating, employee name. Employee name is Mark Smith. I am updating the employee Smith to triple Z. This is the one. Okay. Then I am selecting this record. I mean, updation won't give you any record. This result. Okay. This result has given you. I mean, this select statement has given you this result. Then I'm selecting from the employee audit table. I didn't do anything in the employee audit table because earlier you see only 4 records I have created. For Mark Smith, I have changed it to triple Z. What has inserted here? Audit ID 1, employee ID 1, Mark Smith, Mark Smith was the old value, and I did a update. Okay, Mark Smith was updated. This is the thing. Next, I'm going to do, see the magic guys here. Guys, I didn't say about transaction. Let me explain that one along with this. See, if I do along with all other stuffs like this begin transaction will make you to have the batch execution. Whatever statement followed by this begin transaction, which run in a full batch. So after this transaction, you say commit here. Then only all operations, whatever it performed, will be updated in the respective tables. Now you see, like we executed this command, along with the begin transaction, end transaction. So this employee doesn't got updated to triple Z. He still has Mark Smith. What I'm trying to say is, one, we saw like he has got updated triple Z. Okay, why it is not being updated here in this employees table? Because we have rolled back the transaction. So all these things are rollbacked. It will not happen in the actual table. Once I say commit, okay, whatever operations. So when I run update here, see, when I do only the selection of this query alone, update alone, it will auto commit. There is no begin transaction, no end transaction, commit or rollback transaction. So this is another important factor here. So what I'm trying to convey is like, now instead of rollbacking, I will update this guy. For one, I'm going to run begin transaction to commit. Then this time when I execute this employee for one, it will update to triple Z. Okay, now again it is saying the same. Now you see triple Z. That is for instead of Mark Smith, you have triple Z now. So rollback transaction is like whatever you have a code between begin transaction and this transaction, all the statements will be rolled back. That will be nullified. It will be ignored, all those commands. Okay, that is the main purpose of rollback transaction.
Nagendran, when you roll back, you need to including the table name, right? Employees audit.
No. See, rollback means begin transaction. So it says rollback means all these operations, irrespective of the tables or whatever operations you do, everything will be stored until you say rollback or commit. You say commit, all the things will be committed. It is not for the table. Transaction means batch, irrespective of the tables or procedures, whatever you call. Okay.
Okay, so when I begin, see, when I see, I have doubt when you say rollback transaction. Will
Yeah.
this rollback only for whatever we have done today or any time frame? How this
Within
happen?
the scope, it's not for today. Begin
Okay.
transaction, you're saying from here to till this previous transaction. If you do update here, that will not be rolled back. If you say here, if you put some update here, that will not be rolled back. You need to execute as a batch like this. If you execute within this,
Okay.
it will update or it will
Okay.
roll back.
Okay. Fine.
Okay. Yeah. This is what I said, batch. You run it as a batch. So all the usually in stored procedure, they will write like this: create procedure, begin transaction, end transaction. Begin should be at the beginning, end rollback or end should be. If some failure happens, they will call it as rollback transaction. If something everything goes smooth, then they will commit it. So these three statements is very important. If everything is good, then commit it. If something goes wrong, roll back it. Okay. Forget about that. Let me update again. Maybe took it directly. Mark Smith. Okay. Okay. Now, so you got it right, guys. So now you see again the audit table. Now I did many times. Okay, these are 2 times I did, and it logs me modified who user because who has done that. That is why it is getting in the first of your trigger, first line or few lines of the trigger. Now here what I'm doing, I'm trying to insert. See again union all these things people are using. Again here I'm doing the rollback. Let me check. So here what I'm doing, I inserted these 2 records. Is that Marcus Rabius, and here it is trying to insert in the audit also. I'm getting the operation, what operation I did. I'm not doing anything here, but it automatically does some job. Here you have only 2 records. Since it is rolled back, those 2 records are gone. Okay guys, so this is about the triggers. I hope you got it. You no need to do something, certain things that should trigger some other operation. What it has to do, that is defined in your trigger logic. So I need to initiate trigger on this table for these operations: insert, delete, update, or select also. Okay, and what it has to do, it will do insert or delete into based on the logics. So this I have explained. Some temporary tables it will keep based on the insertion happened. So using that, it is inserting into another table. So this is your trigger, guys. Here you can send as usually we will send emails. That is why I know I am pointed out. If something happens, say for example, someone has deposited huge amount, then you can write some logic there in that you can send emails to your managers, alerts, all those things. Okay, for those purposes, we will use triggers. Okay, with this note, let's move on to courses. So just now we discussed about triggers. Let's move on to courses. Courses, when we use. So there are certain cases like all these operations, select statement or functions or stored procedures. These things you are running as a set operation. Set operation means for a table. Okay, for entire row you are selecting, entire column you are selecting as a set operation. But what happens, I want some operations to be performed for each row one by one, like looping. Okay, basically it's kind of a looping operation. Okay, those kind of stuffs you go for courses. So courses, if you have a 10,000 records in your table, you want to loop through all the 10,000 records to do some operation. Let us give one example. So say for example, like today's corona case, like these are the guys who has identified as having a corona, and I want to identify for each customer whomever he has met, those kind of stuffs. Okay, that information you have it in some other table, so you need to pass this guy, okay, in some other table, and you need to fetch those information whomever he met, something like that. Okay, so each row, each customer you need to pass, this will be acting as a parameter, and for each row you are finding something else, and this procedure should run for multiple values, row by row operations. It's like a looping. That looping can be anything. It can be 1,000 rows or 10,000 rows. Such kind of operations, if you want to perform, then you go for cursors. Let's have a quick look at an example, then you will understand much better. So here what they're doing is like, in this example, they're taking backup. Okay, we are going to take a backup of the system databases over here automatically. You have 4 databases backup. Okay, I mean these things to be uh, taken automatically when I run this code, single piece of code, that will take my backup automatically. That is the main purpose. Let us see the code. So here, so these are the variables, as I said before. These are the variables to store some temporary results. Okay, and the code for a cursor starts from here. So cursor, declare cursor. Okay, I mean here it follows the name before. It's like a variable only, guys. So declare cursor name. Here you see declare variable name and data type. So similarly declare cursor name and your cursor is a keyword. For see, these are the things it will have as a list. Like if you have a multiple values, or in our previous example I quoted, all the customers you want to loop. So that list you need to keep it here. Your query should return whom to loop or what to loop. 1,000 records, 1,000 customers. Those customer list it should return here. Okay. So that information is stored in your cursor. Then what you are doing? Then you are opening a cursor for each row, for fetch next from this cursor and store in that variable. So I hope you guys remember you worked in any programming language. You need to loop means for each loop you get the value as 0 to 1. 10 times you 1 to 10 you need to print means you will specify initial value 1 and the end value as 10, and each value you loop means each value you will print 1, and you will assign the value to variable to calculate something, and you will assign, then you will loop through the increment the value, then you loop through. Same logic here. So first value you are getting, I mean you assume these we'll stick to this example. So 4 values are stored in this cursor. It is fetching the first value, okay, master, and stored it here. Then that master, it will keep looping through using a while statement, because at that fetch status, if you declare a cursor, and at that fetch status meaning whether the cursor has a value or not. When you say fetch next from a cursor, it fetch one value. When you say again here fetch next from cursor, the cursor will point to next value. I will explain that little better in Excel. Now stick to this example. Master is stored here. It will check this condition is true. Then what will happen? This is the code, whatever logics. Here only you need to write your logic in the while part. Whatever logic. As I said, for 1,000 customers, we need to take whoever he has met. So those information you can write here. Okay. So in this case, for master, it will generate the path. Then this backup database query will be fired. Then that will take a backup. Okay. Then what happens once it has taken a backup? It will go and check model, second value, fetch next from DB cursor into name. What it will do? It will take model. It will, the while condition is true, then it will take model backup. Again, this condition will say for MSDB, it will check here. This is also true. This will take backup for MSDB. It keep on going. Once tempdb is taken backup, fetch next from db cursor into name. This will return 0 or null value. Okay, it's not a null. While uttered fetch status equal to 0, then it will exit. This is not true. Fetch status will become null, empty, once the 4 things are fetched. Similarly, for 1000 customers corona case, all the 1000 corona cases as retrieved, then it will go and check the while loop. Okay, then it will return false after 1000 customers return, and it will fail. Okay, basically it's a looping concept, guys. You need to use the cursor, nothing but it will hold the list of values. For those list of values, one by one you need to process, okay, one after the other. Then you will use for each value what operations you need to perform. That operation you need to specify it. It is as simple as that. Let us have execute this one. I didn't try it. I need to have decolonizing Naga. Maybe training we will take backup over here, because sometimes the space in the file name will throw error. Okay, I want to take backup in decolon training Naga. Let us see whether it's there. Nothing was there. Let's try to execute. I'm running it for the first time. Hope it should work. There you go. Oh my god. It has taken backup for all other things also. Okay. I think inside each thing it has taken master database backup. Process file report server. Okay, fine guys. See, the code is not in. It is saying it's not these 4 conditions. It is not in. Not in means whatever names it has selected. Don't take these 4 database. You take all other database. So that's why it taken all these things. Our example is correct only. So AdventureWorks. So there are 7 databases we have. Okay, this list they have taken 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, you got it, guys. Now you see the practical example of it, cursors, how it works. So it will be really confusing for you guys when to use procedures, functions, and you have triggers, cursors. Okay, you all came through it. I mean, once you have experienced this one, different scenarios will come into place. At that time, you need to be in a position to choose between either of them. Either we need to go for triggers or we need to go for cursors. Which one fits in that scenario? Okay, at that time you have to decide. But you need to know what are the different things, what is the purpose of procedure, function, triggers, and cursors. Got it, guys? Any doubts? No? Okay. If you guys having no doubt, then I will explain the joins part. Today's session, I'm fine. I mean, I'm done with today's session. Let's focus sometime on joins. Or you want to take it tomorrow as a beginning? Today is at the end of the class. You guys are very feel bored.
Naga,
Uh,
yeah, I'm having a call, okay? I've got
yeah,
one
go
call
ahead.
from office, so I'm working on that.
Yeah, go ahead. Good. So, guys, what do you think, guys? Can we have a joins now or tomorrow? Hello? No suggestions?
We can have
Tomorrow
it
night.
tomorrow.
tomorrow. I think 2 options tomorrow. Then we can have tomorrow because we will start fresh. Then it will be easy for you guys to understand. Okay. Let me summarize today's session then. So we started with functions and a little bit of stored procedures. What are the difference between these two, when to use? Okay, these are the combinations. You should not confuse with stored procedure, triggers, cursors. Stored procedures are functions, either of them, which one to choose. Okay, then we worked on triggers. So triggers is used to trigger some of the operations based on certain operations that happen in any of the object. Okay, cursors, when you want to loop through or you want to go row by row operations. Okay, in that case you need to go for cursors. And I hope I covered everything: creating, executing, modifying. So these things, it is very simple. It's one liner. Like we had a function procedure here. So yesterday itself we saw this. So create procedure. Instead, if I say alter, okay, this is I say like I want to amend some code here. So I have modified something, whatever it can be. So it's modifying. Okay, it's as simple as that. I don't want this procedure means drop. So drop procedure name. Even you can delete it. This is the code: drop procedure name. So once I do that, you see here you have customer update. It will be gone. You won't find it. I can recreate. That will be useful because no need to store this content. Once you have a procedure or view defined, no need to store physically as a script. You just need to have it in your database. Keep your database safe. Take backups regularly. I got my procedure back. So these are the things, guys. Any object, you go for create procedure, alter procedure. In this place, you can have view or table, whatever. Then use that appropriate objects. This is what. Okay. So about that, then